You're listening to the Mermaid Podcast here on WPOD-FM, Mermaid Radio. I'm Gary Guppy, and we hope you enjoy today's program.
Welcome to the Mermaid Podcast, where we dive deep into the magical world of mermaiding and all things aquatic. I'm Marishira, and these are my co-hosts, Sierra Mermaid and the merman of unrecognized talent, Merman Nathaniel.
Whether you're a seasoned performer, hobbyist, or curious adventure seeker, this is the place for you. We'll be highlighting our fantastic community and what we are all about, making magic and living out our best mermaid dreams.
Today is all about mermaids in the digital age, how we use our shell phones to find community and advocate for the environment, plus some tips on how to start your own online community. Don't forget to follow us on TikTok and Blue Sky at The Mermaid Podcast, and join the pod on Discord to connect with our community, linked in the description. If you like what we do, please consider donating to our coffee to help us continue the podcast. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the podcast. For this month's episode, we wanted to take a look at social media, seeing that the weather's warming up. A lot of mer people may be looking into bringing this hobby to social media, whether it be posting themselves or finding new creators to enjoy.
I always think it's so funny seeing the hype that mermaid accounts tend to get after the winter when they come back after the weather starts to warm up.
I'm
Tell
so
me about
guilty of it. I've gone back to TikTok, but I'm not yet back into Instagram.
Oh, Instagram is just full of so many great mermaids.
I just, with the recent political climate, have been trying to stay away from Instagram, so I've been on Blue Sky, and let me tell you, with Mermaid happening, everyone has been posting up a storm.
Yeah, I very much need to get more into Blue Sky. It just is one of those ones that have flagged for me, just like Facebook. I think it's just that I was so over Twitter before Blue Sky became a thing that I just couldn't connect.
Right.
I guess I got lucky with my Instagram feed because a lot of the stuff I get is either mermaid related stuff or is otherwise just ocean animal related stuff like seals and diving videos and stuff.
You definitely have to work to curate your own algorithm.
Yeah.
Very much. And it all depends on like who you follow, what they're seeing. It is such a curation, like Ashira said. Because anything that your friends are looking at is probably getting popped up on your feed too.
It's a thing, but it's also really good for people who are looking to find community or promote their business, especially like Nate says, his feed is full of ocean animals, and that can be really good to bring
awareness to conservation and the environment.
Absolutely. I know a couple of the mermaids we're going to be talking about during this segment are very much in that conservationist mindset,
I think
not to get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. I think there's a pretty strong overlap between being a mermaid content creator and providing education and awareness for conservation and being eco-friendly. It's definitely a big conversation in the mer community, especially when we're talking about what are we wearing in our costumes, how does that affect the environment, leaving things in a better state than when you found them, and be respectful of any animals that you're swimming alongside.
Well, of course, I would agree that mermaiding, like conservationism, does kind of come with the whole culture of mermaiding, because essentially what you're doing is you're not just posting a picture of yourself in a mermaid tail going, hey, look at how beautiful I am, but also you're posting a picture of yourself in a mermaid tail in nature sometimes. And that is essentially like telling the world, like, hey, look how beautiful this beach is, look how beautiful this coral reef is, don't you guys want to keep it this way?
Especially if an unfortunate fact of the matter is, like, there are a lot of kids on social media as well, whether or not we like it, and it's just one of those ways that it's something more positive to ingrain in them, that it's something that you would prefer them to be watching, is somebody dressed as a mermaid, getting that imagination going and saying, get out there. Like, look at all of these sites that we're missing because of our phones. Look at all that we could be doing, cleaning up.
Yeah.
And then I personally am very outspoken about the use of AI in mine. Not only do I have my mermaid social medias, but I also run, for even longer, I'd say, social media based off of witchcraft and paganism, paranormal investigations, just the creepier things, quote unquote. And on both sides, that's something that I try to stress so much, is you can't claim to be this creature who loves nature and wants a better earth while you're using something that actively destroys it. For what? Just because you don't want to learn how to draw? And I say that as somebody who can't draw myself. There's so many options. If you can't do it, you can hire somebody who can. There's a lot of talent that doesn't directly affect our environment in such a negative aspect.
There was a post I saw that actually summarizes it perfectly, where it's like, oh, Beethoven was deaf when he made his music, but sure, you need a machine to make your art.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And I found that, unfortunately, it's a little bit controversial to say. I've gotten in quite a few little tiffs, and normally I'm not the tiffing kind of guy, but that's something that I will tiff about, because how do you claim to be a mermaid or into witchcraft or whatever and actively seek out destroying the environment that you should, in retrospect, be wanting to maintain?
Yeah. No, it's silly, isn't it?
Yeah, very much. And I think that we're in an age where, with all of the information at our fingertips, I know right now, as I'm standing here, I've got a computer in front of me, but then I've got a little mini rectangle computer in front of me too, that goes with me everywhere, actually. My little shell phone. And the great thing about these things is that information is always at our fingertips.
I suppose if there's any consolation to it, there has been far more pushback in terms of AI in recent months than there has been support, or at least that's what I've been noticing.
Again, with the algorithm. It's hard to tell.
It very much is. I know that I've seen
anti-AI.
Yeah, mine is as well, but I've also seen, I think it was last summer on TikTok, there were a lot of mermaids who were using AI for, I don't know, they would have a selfie and then it would go underwater and turn into a quote-unquote mermaid.
Those.
And I'm like, yes, you know what I'm talking about. Pull your legs into one legging hole and then wrap the other one around, tuck it in. Perfect. Now you've got the start of a mermaid tail. You don't need to use AI. Exactly. I did it. I was guilty. It's not a safe thing to do, but I did it.
This conversation does bring up the duality of social media, how it can be used to bring awareness, but also some people will post pictures of nature and be like, oh, you should be outside right now, stop doom scrolling on your rectangle of nightmares. So it can be both a good thing and a bad thing. It can be used positively to encourage people to go off and do something.
Yes, exactly. And it's okay we're not saying that you're a hypocrite if you are posting about outside time or anything. Matter of fact, I encourage it. I love seeing the sights, even if I can't see them, like myself, but it's just, I feel like we're in a community. Yes, we're in a community where balance is needed.
Anyway, some of those people that get it right. So we were talking about conservation and awareness and how people use our shell phones to post things about that. And there are mermaid content creators that do exactly that. They're out in the world making a real difference to communities, to children in education, and then they're also using a platform online to be able to spread that even further than they would be able to beyond their communities. Someone who stands out for me being in a landlocked area is Mermaid Echo. They are a fantastic freshwater education and conservation advocate. They do shows all the time. I see them doing shows with kids, and I just think it's really great. A lot of mermaiding content can be focused on the ocean, so I think that's like a good niche for someone to have filled is freshwater conservation.
Very much. I'm somebody who
Absolutely.
lives surrounded by fresh water on both a lake and a river, and I very much appreciate Mermaid Echo because, like you said, that was a huge gap that was not being filled. Another person that I always like to bring up in these kind of conversations is Mermaid L. I follow her mostly on TikTok, but I've been told she does have Instagram and things like that as well. It's just not my main. She does a lot for conservation, especially with children. While she's doing children's birthday parties and things like that, she has a lot of discussion. I know that she has a book. I think it's called Mermaid L Saves the Seas. So it's really nice to see somebody getting out there and interacting with the kids, giving them something to remember about conservation.
Yeah, I remember she also had I don't know if she still does this, but at one point she did have like, a YouTube series for kids where she was essentially like talking about like different ocean animals and such, essentially like making kids aware of them and trying to get them to be more like, conscious about what sort of animals live in the ocean, which I think is just really nice.
Yeah.
She's just great with kids. Like, anytime I see her post a video online, it's always her working with kids. You know, the fact that like she's so good with kids, I think is like really important when it comes to the conservation scene because you're essentially getting the idea into these kids' heads early that like, oh, you know, we kind of need these animals for our ocean to survive. We kind of need coral reefs. We kind of need we want things to look beautiful and colorful under the sea, so let's keep it this way.
Start them young. You know, while they're at that formative age where they're absorbing everything like a sponge. As someone, I'm a K-12 educator, so it's a really important age to be instilling respect for the environment because there are a lot of places where kids can get the wrong idea, like from adults in their lives that maybe aren't setting a great example. So it's good to have someone who is consciously setting a positive example for these kids while they are soaking up everything like sponges and trying to copy and find role models.
Absolutely. I think that is just absolutely vital that they have a positive role model like her in their lives, especially like nowadays when it just feels like social media is catered in such a way where it feels like it's just purposefully trying to make our kids dumber. You know? And I'm not even just talking about like the AI generated content, but like just in general, a lot of these like YouTubers that kids will look up to, it just not to sound like old man looking like a cloud, but yeah.
Yes. No, I've seen it. I don't have children myself, but my best friend, she has younger children, and I was just there yesterday and I was like, my God, what is the content for kids nowadays? I felt like I lost a brain cell. She was like, yeah, I call it brain rot. That's why I only let them watch TV for like an hour or less a day.
Yeah. Anyway, the last one that I want to mention is someone who's very well known in the mermaid community, Mermaid Linden, the creator of the Linden monofin. I remember reading an article about her years ago when I first started to become a mermaid. And she was a huge inspiration for me, especially the Linden monofin was the second monofin I got. And the article was all about how she was one of the first mermaids to really put her name out there in the name of conservation, doing shows at aquariums and having her own. I know she had a series called, I think it was Mermaid Minute, where she would talk about conservation and it was geared towards children. But honestly, you know, this goes for all content for children. Any content for children can be geared towards adults.
Absolutely.
Right.
But she does a lot of conservation and dive work and just things outside of being just a mermaid, just someone wearing a tail, spouting facts about the sea, which is great. And she is really out there in the actual environment doing work for the oceans, which I think is really cool.
Yeah,
I
I
very
think
much
that
agree.
I think that's definitely like an important aspect too. It's not just it's the show don't tell like aspect. Like you don't
Mm-hmm.
just want to tell kids like, oh,
Oh,
we have to
behave. Yeah.
yeah, you don't want to just tell them that the oceans are beautiful. You have to like actually show it to them. It's like it's
Yeah.
like that sort of thing is just absolutely vital for the education process. That's something I feel like a lot of not just people, but I feel like a lot of schools take for granted too.
For
You
sure.
know, it's one thing to read about like a starfish in a book, but it's something it's another thing entirely to like, have them go to an aquarium and like, go to a touch tank and see one actually like, living out its natural life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That brings us to another sector of the online mermaid community, and it is this sector that has been brought up around the aesthetics of being a mermaid and being in the ocean. They focus a lot more on the fantasy of being free in the ocean, and this I think this is what draws people to the mermaid community. It's just this fantasy, and they'll post content, of like imagine being a mermaid and swimming from your grotto. It's them in this tassel, like swimming alongside stingrays and everything. And
Mm,
while it's not explicitly about conservation, it kind of is in a way. I mean, like we're posting about these environments and you're posting yourself interacting with them respectfully. That is another facet for conservation and awareness.
yeah.
And someone who I found early on that I became just enamored is Mermaid Serenity. And the first
Oh,
thing I saw
yes.
Mm,
from her was that tail, that glowing tail that she got from Finfolk. Oh my gosh, I was
Oh,
so
it's beautiful.
jealous. Of her posts are so magical and just encapsulate this mystical mermaid.
Oh, I love her. I love the Vero Beach Mermaid as well.
oh yeah, she's great.
I
Mm-hmm.
love her post where she's showing her collection too. So she kind of gives us both sides of it, what it looks like behind the scenes, getting it all situated ready, and then actually being out there. I love the
Mm-hmm.
duality.
Oh yeah, especially when she's in the springs. I've seen so many videos of her like swimming in the springs and oh my God. It's again, it's that whole thing of just here's the beauty of nature. This is what we're showing off here. And it's just, I love it.
Yes. She's
But
incredibly strong.
oh
Like,
yeah.
you've seen videos of her holding all of her tails. She's a beast.
Oh
Those
yeah,
things are
no, she's
heavy.
awesome.
But aside from those two, we also have arguably one of the more famous mermaids in our community, Raina Mermaid as well. Raina the Halifax.
Yes, she's
Yes, I've seen
based up
her
in
content
Canada.
quite a bit. Yes.
Yeah, she was a mermaid creator that I followed quite regularly when I first discovered the mermaid community and wanted to like learn more about the activity. She's very informative when it comes to that sort of thing. God, how long has she been in the business? It feels like it's
17
forever.
years.
17. Wow,
Yes.
yeah.
I love her post that when she's matching tails with her son. I think it's so cute.
Oh,
It's so
yeah.
she's a big fan
It
of
is really.
Mertailor, and they have their little guppy tails for the babies.
That is quite
I
nice. I like that.
also I also love Mermaid Chez Monique. She's so sweet, the
Yes.
founder of the Society of Fat Mermaids.
We
I
mentioned
I
her in the
feel like
last
I've mentioned
Really.
before
episode.
that I met her. Yes,
Yeah.
I thought so. She's so sweet though. She deserves her praises every time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't and I'll mention her in the next episode.
And every episode after
Uh,
that.
don't count
And the
on it.
next one. And the next one.
But yeah, no, she really is just great. I respect her too because like I've seen a lot of videos of her before where like people will caption it and with something like very mean-spirited like, "Oh, I thought this was a mermaid, not a whale." And like, you know,
Disgusting.
she's taking it on the chin and she's putting it herself out there still in spite of all those kind of comments. And I feel like that's in essence what the Society of Fat Mermaids is all about. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like showing off your inner beauty in spite of what your body looks like. And I respect the
Everybody
hell
is a
out of that.
mermaid body.
Yes,
True.
exactly. But on the opposite gender, we also have some merman creators as well, such as Merman Christian, who is another content creator I've been following since I first discovered mermaiding. Absolutely love his stuff. His outfits were genuinely like some of the best I had
Oh,
ever
yeah, they're
seen.
top notch.
They are just absolutely stunning. I think he's kind of like not necessarily moved away from mermaiding, essentially. He doesn't really do it as often as I've seen, but he kind of moves more towards like doing horror stuff now, which I think is still really cool.
That's
King.
cool.
Love it.
There's
It
definitely
is
a
really
niche
cool.
cross there.
Man after my own heart.
I think he could incorporate the two of them
Some
somehow.
siren horror.
Because like,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, because there's another mermaid content creator I follow, the Magic Crafter, and
oh my gosh, don't even get me started on her. I love her.
Mm-hmm.
she manages to blend like a dark gothic kind of aesthetic with one of her mersonas. She has like several mersonas, but one of her mersonas like has like a very like dark gothic, very dark purple kind of aesthetic to it. So I'm wondering if perhaps Merman Christian could also incorporate that into one of his looks at some point.
That would be really fun to see, for sure.
Yeah, I'm like browsing through his Facebook right now, and like, God, the tales that he has, and like, oh my God, he is just hair goals. You know, I tend to wear my hair out very long. If you guys have ever seen me in real life or just a photo of me, you'd know that I tend to have like really long hair, and I like it that way. And like, oh my God, his hair is just gorgeous.
Yes. Oh my gosh, so flowing. But those are a lot of really famous, really big voices in our community. There are tons, hundreds
of smaller creators, one of which we actually had on the podcast as a guest last year, and her name was Catfish Mermaid with a K.
Yes.
Yeah.
So sweet.
She was really nice.
Absolutely.
She's very knowledgeable.
Yeah, it was really nice having her on here. It was actually really nice finding out that there was a mermaid in Sierra and I's neck of the woods, honestly, because like, you know, we've complained about this before in the past, but like there's like almost nothing in terms of like a mermaid scene out here.
Which is crazy because we have a huge lake. We have the biggest of the Great Lakes. We've got, not that you should swim in the river, it can be dangerous, but we do have a very nice river. We're not landlocked by any means. So it's kind of crazy that our scene over here is so small.
Yeah, which makes me respect Catfish even more for putting in the effort to actually like do this sort of thing.
Absolutely. Upstate Mermaid also does that as well. She's about an hour out from me, and she really puts in the work as well. Love her.
But aside from that, we've also got Mermaid Zippy.
Remember the pod, and she did our episode art.
Yeah, I'm still appreciative of her for doing that. She's really good.
It was beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
That was our first digitized fictional art, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
But she is a mermaid for hire. I think she's in North Carolina, which is cool.
Yeah, I'm looking at her page right now. It looks like she also partakes in trash cleanups around like rivers and lakes, which is very admirable and also very relevant to what we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
But aside from her, we also have Mermathist, who is a tail maker.
Oh, I love their tails. Love them.
Oh my god, yeah.
They have made tails based off of both H2O and Mako mermaids, and
that's
they're
how I
silicone.
found them.
Yes, that's how I found them as well. I found them from Zach from Mako Mermaid's tail was the one that they had recreated when I found them, and I was hooked on their content right then and there. They're great.
Oh yeah, no, like their stuff is honestly like astonishing. Very lifelike. One of the more lifelike tails, silicone tails I've seen.
Very much love them. I also, for makeup specifically, I love the Caspian Mermaid. She's awesome. I met her a few years back, and she had tips for days. She was so nice.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I'm looking through her videos right now. Like, honest to God, like, such great aquarium work she does.
Yes. She's gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous. But aside from her, we've also got Queen Ariel of the Realm. That's
She's so
Ariel with
bubbly.
She is. Oh my God.
The sweetest.
Her videos are just so funny. I especially love the videos where she's just making fun of the kids that are like trying to disprove that she's not really a mermaid.
I
She'll
know.
like
Mhm.
she'll often edit her eyes and her mouth to be like really big and just be like, actually, I can see your knees. And it's just like, it makes me appreciate mermaid performers just that much more because of the crap that they have to deal with snotty little brats that try to do that sort of thing, try to ruin the magic for everyone else.
Oh yeah, but she's so sweet. She takes it all in stride. She is such a great swimmer. I love seeing her videos under the water. Again, so
yeah.
beautiful, so graceful.
Oh yeah, no.
And she's just graceful as a human being. She's very sweet.
Yes.
I
I
haven't,
love her wig collection. Very random, but she has so many.
I haven't spoken with her directly, but we did like exchange a few comments here and there, and she was always just like, an absolute joy to interact with. It's like that bubbly personality. It doesn't even feel like it's put on. It feels like that is just her. She's
legit.
putting herself out there.
Another creator that I really like is the Tropical Merman. I love his videos.
Yeah, his stuff is great. But yeah, no, he puts in the work. Like I love his stuff. The tail that he has too, or at least one of them, the tails he has are just absolutely gorgeous. He looks really good in blue, I'd say.
Oh, very much so.
He absolutely rocks it. Seeing him just like interacting with people at the aquarium is just that's always like my favorite part is like when people interact with merf people at aquariums. That's not easy like at all.
No, there's so much that goes into those kind of performances, and he just rocks them all the time.
There's an episode of Bob's Burgers where they actually did feature mermaiding at one point. They were like going to a casino or whatever, and there was like a flashback sequence where I think it was Luann's grandmother who was like a mermaid at this casino at one point. She talked about like how she had met somebody she had an affair with, I think, and she talked about like how I'm obviously butchering this episode, but if any fans of Bob's Burgers, please correct me, but she talked about like how he looked, and she was describing like how blurry he looked behind, not just behind the glass, but through the water because she couldn't see crap. And like, seeing that first person perspective just like kind of put it into perspective for me. Oh, okay, this is what these performers have to deal with. This is what they are
God,
looking
no, they
at.
genuinely can't see anything.
Yeah.
So I've seen people say, if you take your kids to one of those kind of performances, you want to be noticed, whatever, to wear bright colors or even like use a light, like even the flashlight on your phone to be like, we're over here. Because it's legit. Like, I'm somebody who I always have my eyes open, and I don't really use goggles either. And
Brave
it's
soul.
you really cannot see much. you get a little used to it, but it's still not perfect. Like, you wouldn't be able to see through the glass. I don't know about seeing through the glass as well because I've never performed in an aquarium or anything like that. But I can assume that it's just that much harder.
Yeah. When we come back, we'll be discussing another form of social media with a special guest, so stay tuned.
You're listening to WPOD FM Mermaid Radio. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey folks, I'm Blinky the Dolphin. I forgot to record a commercial this morning, so I'm doing it at a client's party. So yeah, I'm an entertainer. I entertain kids. I can do magic tricks. I can do flips. Hang on, I wrote this down. I can do magic tricks. I can do flips. I can do impressions. I can... hang on, there's some dipping sauce smeared on this thing.
Hey, Blinky!
Huh? What? Oh, it's you. What do you want?
Can I have a balloon aminal?
Oh, right. Here.
But you didn't even do anything to it.
What are you talking about? It's an eel. I gave you an eel.
No, you didn't.
It's a snake then. I don't know.
You smell like my uncle.
And you smell like boogers and farts. Now get out of here. I'm trying to record something.
I hate you, Blinky!
Yeah, you sound just like my ex. Anyway, feel free to hire me. I'm always available. And I'm affordable too, so there's that. So yeah. Get in contact with me. Hang on, someone's cooking prawns.
I would not hire that guy for my birthday party. Anyway, welcome back, folks. On this segment of the episode, we'll be discussing another method mer people have been using to connect on the internet. Live streaming. And while she isn't a mermaid herself per se, our guest has absolutely mastered the ocean aesthetic for her Twitch channel. Please help me welcome Piichi the Octo. Piichi, how are you doing today?
Hi, hello, my name is Piichi, and yes, I am a streamer. I am a Dumbo Octopus streamer, but I'm a little bit more than that. And I'm happy to talk to you today. Hi.
Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. I imagine a lot of the people listening to this probably know what a VTuber is, or a C-tuber, as you have self-proclaimed.
Mm-hmm.
But for those who don't know, do you care to explain that? What exactly is it that you do?
Yeah, I mean, VTubing is basically just anybody who has like a sona. I know like a lot of merfolk must have their own mersonas, but there's so many different people who have so many different sonas. There's demon people, cow people, they're pretty much anything you can think of. It doesn't even have to be like an animal person. It could be like anything. And VTubing is basically just streaming like any other streamer, except for you get to use your Sona as like a puppet, basically. And it doesn't always have to be like a rig, which is basically like the classic VTuber that you see with the whole VTube studio and everything. Everything's all moving. There's things like PNG Tuber plus VitoTube I use sometimes, where you just basically put a picture of a talking image and then a not talking image, blinking, not blinking, and you just put in the corner of your stream and play games and stuff and talk. And yeah, pretty much that's it.
Interesting. Alright, so you mentioned earlier that your VTuber model is loosely based on a Dumbo octopus. And of course, from the streams I've seen before, it has some very light 2K kind of energy to it. What were some of your influences when making your model?
You hit it right on the head. I love Y2K style. I just pretty much tried to get everything that I'm nostalgic for, which is very much the ocean and tropical stuff. I have always loved that. My favorite movies growing up were Ponyo. I loved H2O. I'd watch it with my friend.
Preach.
And yes, Nemo. I watched Nemo at least 50 times on my big box TV in my room. I love that movie. And just everything about the ocean being like bright and colorful. Since I'm an artist, I just love color. Ever since I was a kid, I was like sketching on my notepads in school and stuff like that. And yeah, I just was so drawn to color. And the moment I wasn't a big fan of, I didn't watch her streams, but I watched her clips. Gara Gura, I think I'm saying that right. She was a shark VTuber girl. And I just loved the thought of actually being quote unquote in the world somewhere. Like you can be like, oh, my streamer's in the ocean. She's actually real in my brain. She's real, but she's down there. And I saw this video of these scientists geeking out over this cute little adorable, I'd never seen it before. It was this little orange Dumbo octopus, and it was like flapping its ears around, being all
Yeah, I
shy,
love that
quote-unquote.
video.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to be that. That is my spirit animal. And like over time, I just realized more and more like how much I am like an octopus. And I originally was named Bijou, actually. I had a squishmallow orange Dumbo octopus that had the name Bijou. So I went by Bijou for a long time, but my name had always been Piichi behind streaming. And as soon as I started making friends and stuff, I was like, okay, I have to be Piichi. But yeah, that was my big inspiration, was all that. Yeah, I love
Interesting.
octopi.
Very cute. I especially love that video you mentioned. It is just adorable.
Just from Nemo, the pink Dumbo octopus, which I never knew was actually a Dumbo until later. The little pink girl that she's like, you made me ink. I've always loved her. She's so adorable.
It is
So
really
big
cute.
inspo.
So how much work goes into creating and running a channel like what you've got right now?
I would say it's a lot of work for me personally. I draw everything on my stream, and I've had some friends help me with animation, After Effects, and things like that, some other things, but pretty much I do all the art for my stream. I drew my model. I didn't rig it, but I drew it. I drew like all my overlays and everything, all my panels. When you on Twitch, there's these little basically informational things down that you can scroll and learn more about the VTuber or the streamer. Besides the art, I have a bunch of programs that I have open while I'm streaming. I have these little interactable fishies that swim around on the bottom of the screen that chatters can be. They can like decorate and everything. I have a soundboard. I have what do I have? I have a stream deck, which is really helpful for any streamer who's getting into streaming. I love it so much. I have a little chatting bot that like people can use to do the TTS thing. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. I also make my own thumbnails for every stream that I do. I just think it's so fun to like organize and see it all colorful and all, nice and stuff. I also do my schedules where I like have a little scheduled graphic and I plan my weeks. It's really nice. But it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. Sometimes I need a break and I take a little week off or something like that, which is nice. I like that I can control my own like schedule and not be owned by some company or something. It's a lot more freeing and nice.
That does sound quite wonderful, actually. Now, you mentioned that there are a lot of like different programs that you use while you stream. You mentioned the Stream Deck, you mentioned the VTuber programs that you use. So like, I'm sure like some people listening to this have probably thought about dipping their toes into VTubing. What's some advice you could give to those listeners? Like what are some good like beginner programs that you could suggest to them?
Yes, I talk about this frequently, I think, on my stream because I think it inspires other people and they're always really curious about how they can start doing it too. And what I always say is just like all you need to do is just do it, really, because like for me, I did have a lot of VTubers, like they'll have debuts where they release their model and like the background and everything's a big event and stuff, but honestly that's not really comfortable for everybody. So I always recommend just like building your stream up slowly over time. And some programs that are really great that are free to use is VitoTube, which here I can actually get the spelling for anybody who's actually interested. It goes VEADOTUBE, and I use the mini version, and that's like super easy to set up, super easy. I used to use Streamlabs OBS, but I would not recommend it. It looks really simple, but over time, you'll end up switching to OBS anyways. It looks scarier because of the UI, but trust me, there's a lot of tutorials that are really, really easy. It's really great. Pretty much, yeah, there's like tutorials for everything too on the internet. Anything that you're thinking about wanting to add, it's really, really not as crazy as it seems. I think one of the biggest things that you should probably pay attention to is your mic and your mic quality, because that can really like influence people coming into your stream. I think like a lot of people might be turned away if they hear like a crunchy microphone or something like that. Like that's more important than the character on stream, in my opinion. But yeah, it's pretty easy.
Very good. So obviously you like to depict the ocean in a very colorful and, dare I say, like magical way in your streams. And, I think that's like the ideal look for how the ocean should be. So have you ever considered, if you were ever to get like big enough, have you considered using your platform to raise awareness for anything like ocean conservation or anything along those lines?
Absolutely. That was actually a really big thing that I was thinking of as I was getting into VTubing. I was like really excited for themed charities. Like I want to have charities for other stuff too, but I was thinking it would be really fun to have like it match with my stream and do a ocean conservation charity stream and stuff like that. I do think I have to wait maybe a little bit longer till I have a bigger following because I want, to make a big impact as big as I can.
Right.
And I haven't learned like how to even, go about doing a charity stream, but that is going to be absolutely the first thing that I do when I figure that out and when I have enough people, I think. Yeah.
Excellent. I love the enthusiasm there.
Yeah, pretty frequently I'll be like, don't litter in my home. This is my home. Keep my home clean. That kind of stuff, that message on stream. So yeah.
What have been some of your favorite projects that you've done as a VTuber so far, and what do you have plans for the future?
I feel like I never run out of creative juices when it's things that I love, and I obviously love my stream so much because it's such a huge part of me. My favorite project that I've done would definitely have to be I call it my 2.0 debut that I had. I just redrew everything. I had been working on my new model, which is basically just like a redraw of my old model, but with cleaner lines and more color and like different outfit and stuff. Like, I had been working for at least over a year, maybe close to 2 years on that. I redrew like all my stuff. Well, my friend Star Prism with two eyes on the prism, she really, really inspired me with my debut. She had like this huge grand debut, and I just wanted to make it look even just a little bit like hers. So I put my whole heart into that event, and it was really, really, really great. I've never had my chat move that quickly. It was a little scary, but it was really fun. Um, and I have so many plans for the future. I want to build my world. Like, I've been so inspired by streamers that have like big immersive worlds and they can like do little scene transitions to go to a different part of the world and things like that. I really want to make it more interactive and more like immersive. I think that would be really fun. I want to build out the ocean that I live in. I have lots of lore already and lots of lore to come. And yeah, I am very excited. I also want to release some actual like music covers. Like, I do have a SoundCloud where I record kind of scuffed music covers and like ukulele covers, but I want to actually have like real lyric videos and all the stuff eventually. That would be a dream come true.
That actually sounds wonderful. I love friends that just support art friends like that. That's just wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
Speaking of support, where can people find you? What are your socials?
Yeah, I am pretty much Piichi the Octo on everything. That's PIICHI. And that's me on Twitch. I also have my card, the CARRD website that a lot of people have, that has pretty much links to everything. If you want to check it out, I have my portfolio, I have my SoundCloud, like I said, my stream, my everything. So yeah.
Excellent. Now, before we wrap this interview up, are there any final thoughts you want to share with us?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me. This is such a cool thing that you guys have put together. I love the whimsy of mermaids. Like, the ocean is so whimsical already, but the fact that people want to basically become fish and become like ocean creatures and like, fill the ocean with like life and beauty is like so special to me. And the fact that you guys all think the same, I feel like we share a brain cell a little bit in that regard. And I'm just so thankful for people like you.
Thank you. Thanks for agreeing to do an interview with us. I appreciate you taking your time.
Yes, of course. Thank you, thank you.
You're listening to WPOD FM Mermaid Radio. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. there's nothing quite like the cool currents breezing through your fins. Siren swimwear. But sometimes you need to make a statement without saying a word. Siren swimwear. So take the plunge and head into Siren Swimwear. Our fashion lines are knitted from only the finest snail silk fabrics and are sure to make you stand out from the crowd. Siren Swimwear. Be bold. Be loud. Head on in today.
Welcome back. What a great interview with Piichi. She had so much to tell us about her VTubing experiences. Bravo to her. Next up on this segment, we'll be talking about creating or starting a persona or group. And as fun as it might be to consume others' posts and content, sometimes you might get that creator itch yourself. But the work that social media influencers put into their brand and their accounts is not to be understated. We have some personal experiences and some general tips and tricks that might give you a jumping off point to get yourself started. So let's just get started with all the different social media platforms you can choose from. I know Sierra, you're on TikTok. Nate, you're on Instagram. I'm personally a fan of Blue Sky.
Right.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer for social medias. You can go even cross platforms. And I know that personally, if I'm not going to post on TikTok, I would probably choose Instagram. There is a pretty active community on both. So I say, you know what, just go for it. If you want to make multiple accounts across multiple places, then, you know what, jump in, you know. I would say make sure that you have a picture that you can use so people, you know, have a face to the name kind of deal. And have, if you prefer to use a Mersona name, to make sure that you've got that sorted out. Mine, I personally use my actual name because Sierra seems fitting.
I think so.
And it's something that I can stretch across multiple brands because mermaiding is not the only thing I do, nor is it the biggest thing that I do on social media. So it's something that my name is my Mersona. It connects me with everything that I'm doing. So it's okay to use your actual name as well if you're not super creative or if you just love your name. There's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah, my favorite part of starting new accounts is in the design of what the front page of them looks like. So this is maybe like the image you have to pick if you're on YouTube or Blue Sky or X. And then, of course, your profile picture. I'd like to share the wisdom of having the same profile picture across any platform you're on, but I personally do not follow that rule. I have different profile pictures for my Discord, for my Blue Sky. My Instagram is my real face. Some of these other ones are art of my Mersona, and that's just a personal choice of me preferring my privacy. I think I'm more comfortable with my face being connected to my Instagram or my YouTube than something like my Discord, where I might be using that account for non-Mer related things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's okay to want to keep, you know, your social medias private as well. I have never shared my last name on any social medias. Don't think I ever will. Internet safety is still a big thing.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Even outside of my public accounts, like I have a private account that's just like for me to scroll and share silly things with my friends, and I feel like privacy is such an important thing, so I'm one of those separate account kind of people.
And speaking of online safety, let's talk about audience engagement a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say that posting regularly is a big thing. I'm a little bit of a hypocrite. I go through my phases like a wave. I post a ton and then I don't post for days. Yeah, you know, especially with mermaiding specifically, that's the one where I'll lack the most because I live in upstate New York. So for those last few months of the year, I'm not outside. I'm not posting. There's nothing new.
If I may share some advice, what I would say is don't be afraid to interact with people in the comments, but also know your limits as well. Be friendly. Absolutely be friendly with people. If you aren't like good with people, If people are showering you with comments, don't be afraid to say, "Oh, thank you." Or if a fellow mermaid creator starts commenting on your stuff, don't, feel free to check them out and be like, "Oh, hey, I like your stuff too." But we've talked about merverts and internet weirdos in the past, and if
You
somebody
can
is,
be respected.
yeah,
But they need to respect you as well.
exactly.
Yes, you don't need the extra follow that bad. You don't need to let people be weird and creepy and harassing you. Because there are some prominent merverts in the community. That goes for any community. People are weird and have to ruin things. That's just, unfortunately, the duality of humanity. And there's a mutual respect that goes into both being a member of an audience and having an audience that I very much agree with Nate. It's a double-edged sword, and know your limits.
Exactly. But other than that, I'd say another thing to take into consideration would be posting reels. Reels and trending audio. That's always a really pop. I don't post that often myself, but whenever I do, I will post some kind of trending audio to go along with it.
TikTok actually helps a ton with this. I actually just had something pop off a little bit for how my mermaid TikTok goes. And it was because I simply went to pick their sounds, went over to, it's labeled hot, I think, and then it literally gives you almost their own version of the Billboard Top 50. And you just pick from there. I scroll a little bit. I don't pick number one because that one's going to be falling off eventually. It's getting to the end of its cycle. It's at its peak. So go scroll down a few, pick one of those, pick an up and coming one because it's going to get you. And with that, posting trending things, use hashtags that are relevant. Don't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna advise against using the hashtag FYP or hashtag for you page or hashtag trending because those are so big that they get lost in the sauce. Like it kind of hinders more than helps, but if you use something that is more targeted but still can be a popular hashtag, like hashtag mermaid hair, things like that, those tend to get picked up more, and you're finding an audience that will like you for you. You're not going to possibly pick up the wrong kind of audience.
Along those lines, this might be a little bit of a unpopular opinion, but just some advice. The goal is not to go viral. Don't be posting and hashtagging and using trending audio or doing something outrageous just to go viral, because as much of a blessing as it can be, it can also be a curse, and you'll attract people who just want to cyberbully you because they don't understand you. And yeah, it's not what it's cut out to be.
Yeah, I've seen enough Deadwing Dork streams to know that going viral is it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people come out of it very well, but yeah, but you don't want to attract that kind of negativity, which unfortunately comes with social media because people are insecure and they're mean instead of working to better themselves and become somebody that they'll like. And like we have said with the privacy, that's another double-edged sword because they're private as well. They think that they can just say or do whatever they want for that quick fix of feeling power. And that's something that, once again, how we touched on respect, you don't have to deal with it. Block them, ignore them. Focus on content creation because you want to have a community and you want to share something with like-minded people. Don't focus on it because you want to be famous.
Yes. In the long run, just like not dealing with these people, it would serve you way better than just having to confront them. Because like I've seen way too many instances where people will try to confront the trolls and they just wind up making themselves look like an even bigger ass.
Yeah, because they want a negative reaction. They want to get a rise out of you. So, and it's silly to waste your time and to bring down your own energy with people who genuinely are just in it for the love of the game. Like,
yeah. Why don't we talk a little bit about forming online groups? Ash, how did you go about making the pod on Discord, for example?
Yeah, I think using the pod as an example of this, honestly, I think it's a good example. I say that as the owner of it, but I also just think what we've created is really special. And there was a lot of work put into it from a lot of different fronts, a lot of different people. Now, when you're trying to make an online community from scratch, a group where people can come and chat and it doesn't necessarily rotate around one person's Instagram account or something like that, it's really important to think about what you're trying to create for them. What niche are you trying to fill? There are a lot of different platforms that you can create on. I know Facebook is one of the biggest social media platforms. There's also the option, if you're tech savvy, you can create an online forum. That's how Mer Network used to be, and then social media arose, and of course we saw online forums fall off in favor of those. So maybe making a forum isn't the best idea. But yeah, I think Reddit is the only one of those forum type platforms that still have that aesthetic from online forums in a social media format. I don't know if you guys would agree with that.
Well, I personally love Reddit. I know that if I have a question about anything, some guy on Reddit posted about it and has the answer, and he posted about it 13 years ago, and he's got me. So I think that's one that's like very underutilized now.
It's very niche knowledge.
Exactly, and then it comes in clutch.
Facebook
great
is kind
because,
of becoming in the same boat.
Before. It is. I've talked about before, though, with specifically the groups. If you're looking for a pod, you can type in your area and then pod afterwards, and a lot of times there will be a Facebook group that pops up. So I do like the group section of it. Yes, I created one for Upstate New York Mermaids a while ago. But the thing is, there's not a ton. It's a little dead.
Yeah, I think the social media is becoming more anti-group forming. A strong statement to make, and I think has to it that we don't have to get into. But yeah, I think it's good that people are still seeking to create.
Yes, exactly. I much agree with you. There is a lot of room for negativity, especially in the States. We live, like you said, not really gonna get into it. I'm behaving, okay? But it's fairly difficult to find kindness or a place where people aren't focused on what is quote-unquote cringe, because to be cringe is to be free anyway, but people are haters in this day and age. And I feel like that's why it's convenient to, as we had said before, have multiple websites, because you can always find a community somewhere. And the great thing about people being tech savvy is that we're starting to see more and more pop up. Blue Sky's a good example. It mimics what Twitter used to be before
it became a cesspool.
Before the Rocket Man got a hold of it. Before it became a cesspool. Not the kind of pool a mermaid wants to be in.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I ended up choosing Discord as the home of the pod. I know, like any big social media platform, it's going to have its drama. We recently just got into the whole age verification thing, which is a whole separate can of worms. But in general, it's been really good at giving us checks and balances to make sure that, we have people pass verification that kind of ensures that they're not trolls. It works about 98% of the time. We keep it really peaceful in there, and we're just able to facilitate conversation about a lot of common interests. And we attract a wide variety of people, whether they're interested in the art side or they like some mermaid shows or just whatever. We have a huge variety of people.
That's what I love about the pod the most, is just like seeing like all the different people from all these different backgrounds coming to essentially share their love of something so very niche.
Yes, and it's kind, it's respectful. Everybody is there for the same reason, and it's not something negative. And that's one of the great things about having something close-knit like the pod. And I say that as somebody who, outside of the podcast, I don't run it, I promise. I'm talking as somebody who is in as a user. It's it's a very welcoming experience, and I've been in it for quite a few years now, and I've always loved it because it's something that I know that if I am sharing something, there's nobody's gonna be like cringe, because everybody is so sweet there.
And not to brag or anything, but like I feel like we're also like really on top of things when it comes to the safety and security
Yes.
of everybody on there.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, even more so than like servers that are like way bigger than us. It's like I've seen so many horror stories where like admins will either enforce no rules whatsoever or they'll wind up just like having like power trips. But like that really has not happened with us at all. Like we are like on top of our rule. We set the foundation, we set the rules, and we have abided by them this entire time. And I think all of our users are just thankful for that.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Like
as
all
somebody who is a user instead of somebody who is directly involved in the Discord team itself, I can say personally, because I speak to you guys on the daily, that there is no actual power trip. There's a mutual respect and understanding, and that I think is where it differs from, like Nate said, the bigger groups or the ones that have power trips. Is you guys are more apt to communicate with people. Yeah, exactly. And if there is a problem, you guys don't join in on whatever it is. You guys stay neutral. You guys handle it as if it was a business instead of jumping in on any sort of bandwagon, or mob. There's just always a mutual respect.
Yeah, and
Not
that's
to toot your guys' horn or anything, but
and that's just something I really like about it too. And I think that everybody else on the server is very appreciative of it too. Because sometimes I'll just go. We have a chant for those of you who are listening and aren't in our Discord server. We have a channel that's specifically for just sharing something you're excited about or good vibes or whatever. And on several occasions, people will just kind of go in there and just be like, "Oh, I love this server. I feel so welcome and safe here," completely unprompted. And that just makes me feel really good because it lets me know that we are doing something right in the world. I say me as if I founded the server. Ash did, but I'm
You're on the
technically
team.
part of the team.
On our team.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm part of the team.
So, for those of you who aren't in the server, which if you're not, you totally should be.
Join
This is
it.
not a
You
threat.
get to
It
talk
is a
with us all the
suggestion.
time.
But we did set ground rules from the very beginning. I had to make general rules like don't be mean and don't say slurs. Like,
Yeah.
but as more people started to
yeah.
join, we started making the rules like a group effort. Just the few people, like under 100 people that were in there, just talking about like what they want to see out of this community. And then of course we got our first moderators who helped.
Yeah. And I think a big important part when it comes to moderating your own group is kind of have to. We kind of talked about not getting involved in drama, but I think more important than that is you should be emotionally detached from the drama. Like, I'm not specifically talking about like a situation itself, but like the people involved with it. Because we've unfortunately had to ban people from this server that we considered good friends, but then like we found out that they kind of did something a little not great behind the scenes, and so we had to give them the boot. And I feel like that's kind of the problem that a lot of Discord servers have, where it's like
But
a lot
they're
of
my friend.
yeah, exactly. Like they refuse to boot them because it's like, oh, we're friends, or oh, but they did
for
such
so
and such for me.
long.
And
Yeah.
like that's something you really have to like emotionally detach yourself from when moderating a server like this.
And it
Because
sucks. Be the founder of a community,
yeah,
or even a part of the moderation team, you're gonna have some hard times ahead. I know there's
Yeah.
lost sleep over situations happening, and luckily us, like the moderators, become close friends. Like I feel like I can come to them with anything, and we do use our private channel to kind of vent and support each other about doing the right thing, even if it's hard, and even if it's hard emotionally.
Yeah, it's not easy at all. And that actually brings up another point, Ash, is communication. Communication is key with your other administrators, because you kind of need to have those when those discussions arise, that like you actually need to have them. You can't just make a decision on a whim. You have to like not necessarily get like a group vote, but like maybe get a second opinion from the people that you run the server with.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would love the idea of being a moderator or being a founder of a group like this, but there's a lot more time and effort than people honestly realize. Even for a small group, like you've got to be paying attention quite often.
Yeah.
And you do have to have that empathy, but also the ability to detach yourself, like you guys have said. And that's why for me Discord ended up not being the way. I did do moderation for Discord groups in the past, and it's back in like when COVID was like had everything locked down and there was time. And that's people don't really think about the amount of time and effort that goes into something like this.
I will say,
like, kudos to you guys.
Chat. Thank you. Having a chat-based group is going to be a lot more labor-intensive from both a moderation and just general activity upkeep standpoint. For example, I also run a Facebook group. The Facebook group kind of runs itself. Let's be real. People are just making posts. I'm not, and if anything, I have to moderate comments and just make sure everyone's being respectful there.
And Facebook helps.
But yeah, there's a lot of integrated tools for doing that.
I'm somebody who normally, with the way that my schedule works, I work a 72-hour work week, and then I'm off for like 8 days. I'm not somebody who should be running a Discord server. If you're working like I'm working, no. Even if you do 6 days on, 8 days off, like that, like, cause that's too much time where you're not able to be involved. Because within that time, you still have to sleep, you still have to eat. You really need to know how to balance time.
I'll be honest, and like I know there's a lot of jokes and stuff that go around about Discord mods being neckbeards and whatever, like chronically online, and you know that's true, but and I'm in class in college, like designing banners for the server.
Yes, I did the same thing in college. I'd be in class with my extra tab open, like on the computer.
Right.
A lot goes into it. Yeah, and it's unpaid. Full-time volunteer work is what that is. And some
now,
people,
if you don't want that kind
now
of,
more than ever, like, responsibility.
If you don't want that kind of labor, there's other platforms. But that's just what has worked best with us wanting a chat-based and is more customizable to needs and our wants and our vision for the server. A lot of subgroups pop up in it, and the channels have made that easy. You know, like we have the art club, the movie club, the music club, the book club, events, D&D.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very good advice.
All right, and now it is time for the artist spotlight. For the month of June, we have our very own user, Stupid Heart 8. They draw mermaids, both traditional and digital, and they also design their own tails as well, which I think is really nice. I've seen a few of their art.
I did a custom for a pod member recently.
Yeah.
There's a Siren Agalia.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, it looked really nice, honestly. But besides that, like a lot of the art that they do, a lot of the pictures are also really nice. It's really cool seeing them getting experimental with a lot of their pieces. Like they're not afraid to reach out to other people in the art club and say like, "Hey, how does this look? How how does this perspective seem? And they're essentially trying to tell us what it is they're trying to do, and I think that's really nice. I like seeing people like actively trying to improve their own artwork. But aside from them, we also have a friend of the podcast, Seabastial, as well.
Featured artist for our episode art.
Yes, our featured artist is Seabastial. She goes by the same name on Blue Sky, at Seabastial. And as of right now, they are offering Pride commissions for the month of June. So if you guys want any Pride Month art done, go give them a follow and let them know we sent you.
Yeah. Thank you to all of our artists. And if you're in the Discord, join the art club. Pick up that pencil, even if you're not great at it. We love our artists in this community. Now it's time for Community Corner. Happy Pride Month to all of our queer merfolk.
Absolutely, you always have a place in this community, my friends.
It really would not be the same without them.
No, absolutely not. No way.
I did an episode from last year.
Yeah, that was a great episode. I like
Very
that.
much. Speaking of both of Pride and Mermaid, which we talked about last episode, Seabastial is offering half off commissions for both the Pride and Mermaid commissions, in addition to the regular ones, currently until May 31st, but they're thinking about extending that through June as well for Pride.
Yay! Get some art from our featured artist.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But aside from that, we also have our usual stuff. We have our game streams on Fridays, as well as our art streams on Mondays. And of course, we have our monthly movie night, as well as our Schlock of the Month night as well. The last Schlock movie we watched was actually Troll 2. That one was a really fun one. I think
I love that one.
it is brilliant, isn't it? I think I
Very
might have traumatized one of our members by showing them the film.
I quote
Jeez.
that movie all the time. I've been doing it for like 10 years. Driving everybody crazy with the, oh my god!
RJ, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but I'm also not.
Worth it.
We changed our book club to the literature club. I'm writing now. We've got some weekly writing challenges going up every Wednesday, and our members have been doing great things. If you love to write, come join us.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Thanks for joining us for this month's episode of the Mermaid Podcast.
Tune in to our next episode where we celebrate the anniversary of one of the most important mermaid shows of the 21st century.
As always, don't forget to get on your shell phones and follow us on TikTok, Blue Sky, and now on Facebook at the Mermaid Podcast, and join our wonderful Discord community.
We'd like to thank our coffee donors that have made this month's episode possible: Ariadne, Isla, and Elizabeth. If you enjoyed this month's episode and want to hear more from us, consider donating to our coffee, linked in the description. Every amount counts and helps pay for our recording software and maintenance fees. Without our coffee donors, we couldn't do what we do. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you.
This has been the Mermaid Podcast here on WPOD FM Mermaid Radio. I'm Gary Guppy, and we hope to catch you all next time.